If you think you know we're at war, then you're wrong. Classified security cooperation programs are running out of control now, lowering the threshold for United States drawn escalation authority by thwarting the vital conflict temperatures for public, congressional, and diplomatic oversight. EBAR 22 flows under review for ways on Congress understanding is no better without information. Congress would perform necessary oversight of the United States struggle to understand proliferation secret war is a recent and dangerous undisclosed hostilities, military escalation, unforeseeable risk, poorly conceived counterproductive operation, runaway cost statutory authorities are undisclosed hostility, security cooperation authorities, 333-127 EUs beyond the intended purpose results in U.S. forces pursuing adversaries, developing control for proxies, the forces that fight alongside U.S. forces programs that would trigger hostilities. Congress recently expanded against rogue states such as Iran. 1202 engaging in global conflict and neighborhood security. Besides, when and where to the U.S. continue to counter terrorists and state adversaries and private responsible for the backdoor of this war. There are three programs that act as Trojan horse to place escalatory military presence abroad without checks and balances. First, 333 EBAR 22 programs and 52 countries resulting forces engaging in combat routing training and equipped programs. For the salaries for C4 presence for forces shift from secret sites. Researchers at 34 uncovered 34 military programs designing the 3D program. For the purpose of engaging in adversary without authorization. Regimes that provide factual information exclude the public compliance body and complete aspects of your Congress's view and notification of internal information critical to understanding nothing obligates to share their problematic risk compliance backlash or department come out of the lawmakers are excluded from conversation presence of laws in 401A1 non-compliance worsened the risk continue to go under stress. Second, 127E EBAR 2226 for irregular groups or individuals combat terrorism and able to paramilitary without oversight or authority carry shadow proxy wars programs allowed to partner forces double the risk of hostility sites and trains with fighting wars through proxies. U.S. government seeks to lower level uncomfortable with the extent of U.S. control of key documents excludes the committees of foreign affairs and primary responsibility to United States and world lawmakers own offices denied most lawmakers 127 reports 130 F support substitute Congress to 130 F have declined the 4A1 requirements. The department has not been met to provide new executive privilege and accused to fully comply with this message has similarly failed his approach to ISAF staff out 253 and third 1202 EBAR the 22-127 narrative combating terrorism 1202 mirrors 127 bars and scope all the warfare against terrorists will against Iran self-defense U.S. forces protect partners regardless of whether the force adversary ISIS or on-rack programs and serious consequences including military escalation nuclear predators you can check 129 to run with the input of all states. There is no information oversight recursion of evidence and 1202 notifications suffer the same problems congressional topics have little visibility. Thus the plan the United States has to reduce the military presence authorized through the existing 333-127E and 1202 authorities in the West Asian North Africa region. The absolute means of direct DoD reduction is vital, otherwise a pre-extreme Pentagon will always find a way to thwart reform. EBAR 23 and concerns oversight security cooperation programs security cooperation 170, 112, the hostilities for misfiltered and federal holy Congress needs better visibility. Executive branch under reports on hostilities. Congress additional requirements. Executive branch compliance has been lackluster. Department of later failed to submit reports. Reports have been submitted deficient reports. The department incomplete. Department who are conducting covert operation because they escaped the disclosure to Congress. The CIA force to combat would need to. The department would not. The department failed to submit timely complete notification or lawmaker. The department hasn't complied consistently. The department has submitted information on intensity combat racial lethal operation narrowly reducing to supporting routine that give the Congress assistance to the U.S. troops who are likely to encounter adversary. Department is material sensitive, which prevents the majority of officers accessing 1202 suffers from the same quickly debate Congress. Congress enacted repeatedly updated overarching mechanisms and mechanisms ignored and nurtured through the secrecy handful of officers to remove U.S. hostilities from the debate frustrating Congress. As well, these programs are especially dangerous in West Asia and North Africa, region 5 with and through exclusive conflict with Iran, Review 23 danger relying on training equipped authorities trying the U.S. crossover with the war with Iran because SKC authorities fight for Abhinav 127 authorities and ISIS fighters, Syria department is IW to war charming because SO activities and broad activities you can change the missing future and war with Iran will probably be used for the presidential powers of excluding oversight could be targeting 127E to broad activities authorizing lead escalators resulting in destructive war and authorized by Congress, specifically the escalate existing Gaza conflict and Church 23 to return escalation of world conflict and U.S. forces with the target wage secret of war against terrorists 127 echoes to target same from proxy attacks U.S. forces in the Middle East or and secrecy surrounding 127 and war U.S. until latter war in the Middle East at the Middle East and U.S. Iran war goes escalates causes drawn in the Middle East war 19 U.S. war actually W they're enabled to bomb and ships the war plays military technical facility training ground launch cyber attacks on infrastructure massive escalation and galvanize Iranian society against the U.S. for European refugees for national governments worried that Iranian proxies which were told to find and explode Middle East turmoil towards nuclear in cold 2002 with 13 countries in the Middle East pull over to the use of nuclear Iran allied groups attacks on the U.S. conflict and nuclear dimension, nuclear weapons cost nuclear weapons 60%, using 3 nuclear bombs 10 times in the region. The Iranian-backed militias are launching attacks against targeting allies. Nuclear war K-21 to critically important U.S. governments and capability for extremism. Cut this card. Proxy warfare in the Middle East escalates uniquely. Iran doing sermon the 19th century proxy war that requires a paramilitaries like the militaries are tactics prosecuted as proxies are not always effective at rebuilding with the target community for proxy shots launch relation to Yemen and Syria. Our more states are powerful weaponry in the Middle East are affected by hamstring dependency and external country unstable original military and the balance in the Middle East, irregular order, line sponsors responsibility, controlling their British is critical for the card at critical, and the after an impact filter exposing to the public oversight solves. Guaranteed for 17 real scholars perspective, empirical domestic policies, the use of force, environmental problems, empirical critiques, peace results, theories, assumptions, and potential leaders are used to endure possible international activism, mobilization, general public assumption, institutions, the cards, apartments, and every or Western self. Democratic peace, feeling attracted interest, that interest and reject narrow understandings of actions, or with the aspect of focusing on structural vulnerabilities in our policy, we 18 for card testing, origin of executed policies, determinedly jeopardize humanity, card exchange of offense, or rise for broader social vulnerabilities, which, when I think the merit attention, emphasize mitigating direct, discrete consequences, expansion risk, and essentially narrow, prematurely curtailing responses to consider Latin, structural vulnerabilities, societal aggregations, susceptibility, existential risk, of worrying apocalypse, more endemic, and problematic, undergoing short-term risk, and mitigating spectacular risk, compared to spectacular risk. Now, the framework, the standard is conceiving utilitarianism, prefer specificity, accuracy, and policy benefits of part of the changes, freeze action, conditionality, ability to target running, carries best something, one between each something you give no attention, foresight, forcing concepts becomes part of our deliberations that makes it intrinsic to our actions, and we intended to have a no active distinction. Governments are culpable for omissions because of purposes to protect the constituency, otherwise they would have no obligation to make murder illegal, actions like outweigh different nations of ethical standings, pain and pleasure, blood, 18, pleasure to punch, wording, computers are awarding due to pleasure. That's kind of pleasure.
Okay. So what cards did you skip on the advantage?
I skipped the empirics prove a Fontaine and Schulman evidence, okay, and the K21 evidence.
Which one is K?
It's tagged as nuclear war.
Okay, gotcha. So let's talk about the programs that the affirmative defends. The 333 program says it authorizes military presence in Africa, Asia, Europe, and Latin America. So the affirmative would only work in the Middle East, though, correct?
Yeah, the affirmative would only reduce military presence. That is.
Okay, so can you explain how the affirmative resolves the Israel?
Well, not in the Middle East.
West Asia, North Africa.
Yeah.
Like, can you explain how the app solves the Israel conflict?
Our argument from the this is like the Israel conflict specifically. I don't think.
So okay, the TERS 23 card says.
Yeah, the TERS 23 evidence says that specifically because there's we've made a structural claim about the way that secret war works, and we said that the unique ability for like covert operations in Israel has allowed for that operation to continue. So Israel.
So do you know how many troops the AF withdraws from the West Asia North Africa region?
Do I know how many troops?
Yeah, like how much troops does the affirmative withdraw?
Like the exact number?
Regions?
That
Yeah.
would be incredibly hard to find, which the AF has already impacted.
So what regions would the affirmative withdraw from?
West Asia North Africa region.
Okay, sure, but what countries in that area?
What countries in the West Asia North Africa region? Like you want me to list the countries in WANA?
No, like what countries does the affirmative affect military presence in?
I mean,
I'm just trying to ask for negative links to dissets.
Like the 333 program, right? It specifically delineates it's like public information. There are 52 countries. Like I don't know the exact list of countries. That seems like something.
Can you list a single country?
What? Like why is that a negative burden to, or why is that the affirmative burden to like list?
Why is it an affirmative burden to okay, whatever.
Defend a reduction in military presence from the West Asia North Africa region?
23 evidence says, quote, billions in security aid to Lebanon. Does the affirmative defend security aid?
No.
You don't? Okay, cool. So.
Unless that's like part of the military presence.
You already said no, but
well, I can also clarify what I said.
Okay. So does the affirmative, so how does the affirmative resolve the secret war?
Because it reveals not that it reveals the presence, it reduces the presence.
Okay, and why is the presence the only thing that affects the war, the Gaza war?
Because it's the secret war.
So why does that mean
escalate?
So why does that escalate uniquely?
Because our argument is that when conflicts start at a low level and involve secret conflicts, it allows for great powers to engage with proxies. Because they know they can get involved in low-level conflicts. That leads to great power drawn. Independently, we have an internal link about why these programs specifically allow for other countries to be able to allow for the United States military to get co-opted and like kind of engage with hostilities with these other countries, which ensures entrapment.
And why would the Pentagon block the plan?
They wouldn't. Only doing the plan, we've read a reason why doing the plan through the DoD or the executive is key.
Okay, I'll start prep now. So I guess I'll clarify what I was asking. You said otherwise empirics prove the Pentagon will always find a way to thwart reform. I'm just asking how do they do that?
Oh, our argument is that the Pentagon has a historical track record of thwarting reform. Every time they use anything with covert presence, they always omit details. They underreport ongoing things. And the president uses something called the 4A1 to actually report that things are not actually under the hostilities, which averts oversight by the public and Congress. There's like a lot more reasons in this evidence, and it also gives you empirics that are in the context of things like the CIA, although the act doesn't obviously defend that, but you know, those are examples of the reasons why.
So is the only scenario inside of the AF like the proxy conflicts and then the Israel-Hamas conflict? The U.S.-Iran war, obviously.
Like I'm confused what you mean by proxy conflicts?
The proxy conflicts escalate.
Yeah.
So those are the only impacts.
The only terminal impacts, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, 150 used. The order is going to be 6th then case, starting on the framework and then the advantage.
Okay, 1 second. I need to figure out how I'm going.
Can I borrow your stuff?
Yes. You said 6 in one case?
Yeah.
Cool. One sec, let me just get this. How much prep did you use?
150. Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna download it from this section. Okay, I have it downloaded.
Anyone not ready? New apps are a voting issue are the worst justified negative terrorism, and that you reject one of our theory. Broad ability to test new apps is key. Absent any idea of the affirmative, the press key becomes limited period prep versus 4 minute seconds or first resort generics because of the absence of an ability to clash independently. The two are split up has to overcover theory because the time 62 speech skew and they get to a class with to advantage and the 3 in R and time 2 splitting because we're forced to spend 230 out of 15 seconds shall losing substance and resolvability. Either you accept 2 responses, so we always lose since they are responded to, or you interview make it resolvable. Infinite abuse is solved by spikes. Only 7 minutes justified. Drop the argument. Reasonability at worst. Second off interpretation. The affirmative must defend the reduction of bases and troops and non-covert operations. Department of Defense 17 network of basing, stationing and employment and deployment of these forces compromise military presence violation. They defend the removal of secret operations, ground disads, and core topic literature about military discuss U.S. overseas presence in the context of permanent basing, covert, non-official troops serves a link to alliances and territories is not actually part of U.S. grand strategy or posturing, and how is the negative supposed to get a link to a secret operation and excludes it to War 6 temporarily deployed for covert and classified operations. Mandatory leave do not constitute presence only when a substantial number of military personnel regularly occupy facilities and by developing covert visible military presence. Strong the debater. It's key to force deterrence because the negative the affirmative will not continue abusive practices. Reasonability is arbitrary. You should use competing interpretations to encourage the best practices. No RBIs that are logical. You should win for being fair and encourage debating theory. Third off, the 180 focus on withdrawal as the end all be all as a form of masculine spectacularizing that effectively attaches to war. Kirk 23 as a military withdrawal by claim the war was unwinnable because the Afghans did not fight hard enough. The gendered assumptions of empire that runs out endless war even when they end. Media focus on whether the U.S. military done too much masculine centering. The end of war militarism persistent and grown. The affect of attaching to war by political discourse is calculus justify war. The nation under the apocalyptic orientation turns from comparative insecurity exploited by biotech, profit of bioweaponry. The warfare makes the future invade the present and anticipating risk, and the impact is gendered war making. Proof 23. Construction of masculinity and femininity makes it impossible to think of war. The logic of masculinity is protection motivated muscle to respond for the disposition for violence, sovereignty, nationalism, or heterosexist. State making has been linked to a symbolic order which subjectivities are binary, anchored in hegemonic masculinity. Masculinity is competition. Identity have become vectors that frame conflicts, shape the form of violence. That conflict has assumed gender does operate as a cause. Unlike quantitative literature, specified mechanisms, causal pathways, and
provide guidance for change. The alternative is to reject the app and embrace feminist failure. This is a politics that requires a gender thinking of the political to open discourse to space and stern and Zalewski. 09 feminism failure, intervening politically, feminist failure within IR, failure necessary to reimagine the possibility of political imagination. IR has significant empirical time to investigate and reproducing gender power, structure power, important to reflect on the gender power that pervades scholarly investigation. Feminist scholars have responded to the task of doing something practical and tangible. Our interpretation is that the one is an object and process of research prefer. First is innocence. This plan focuses a form of masculine innocence that attempts to displace their culpability by saying, but that wasn't in the plan text. The plan text is a tiny fraction of the one you see. If we win the after-decent masculine scholarship, you cannot ethically justify voting for it because you're an educator, not a policymaker. And skip 2, the research models we circulate have impacts when we're and believe 22 research everyday impacts. Our research itself is action which has impacts on this one, and the infinity in which research produce researchers on and disseminated research impacts on the way readers see institution. There is no such thing as non-violent research reflection on the violence is produced and participation in research is key to understand pervasive effects, cathartic perverse effects. Fourth off, skip the fourth off. Fifth off, Biden is fighting for critical AI integration, which is expected to be delivered. Harbor 23, Biden extended EO and require the DoD to conduct AI Pentagon 180 days if it's set up. Task force deploy artificial intelligence capabilities. Agency officer involved in the next 6 months. Pentagon must deliver a report tasked with overseeing national security. Guidance to the Pentagon on a continued adoption of AI for national security missions, including AI assurances document expected to be delivered. And they read the link for us. That was cross-examination. And both the Defense Department and the Pentagon hate the plan. Reading the purple, Ebright 23, uncooperative. How does the Pentagon have stored a congressional oversight or a security cooperation program? We can infer the nature of the Pentagon's non-compliance and major backlash bills over. Pain 23, powerful disincentive to challenge the military. They cost considerable. The military can increase PC required to pursue policies near disagreement, trigger backlash, avoiding incurring domestic political penalty course training. CMR and the Lee coalition came in which the president bargains the military engaged in obstructive bureaucratic practices, predisposes the relationship to be confrontational. The military leaders try to produce power over civilian leaders may offset opposition by bureaucratic propose. The sidestepping does considerable cost to trust advisors. If a president firmly committed conflicts with military leadership, they would more likely to sidestep. And unsuccessful integration ignites the litany of accidental use. 17 new military technology are dangerous, limiting new robotic and cyber weapons have reverse effects. The nation cannot employ new weapons. They will resort to traditional warfare in large numbers with destructive weapons. Discourage force witnesses and needs of terrorism. HR prolific aggression. Last off, the United States Congress ought to commit to removing any president who does not substantially reduce military presence. Let me go to the plan text. Through the existing 333-127E and 1202 authorities in the West Asia, North Africa region, this route results in Biden's removal, the 46th president of the United States did not substantially reduce military presence in the West Asia, North Africa region. That results in Biden's removal, establish 19 the Constitution from his Congress to remove presidents, but the House votes against one majority. President is impeached. If 2/3 vote goes, he is removed, and VP takes over, and Trump leads. Lemon, 420 recent polling administration of the Biden trail. And 3, although Biden has made gains, the election will be determined in a handful of states. Following favor Trump in Arizona by 4.5, in Georgia, polls with Trump ahead, Trump leading by 6 points. Trump favored in Michigan by 3 points. Trump leading in Wisconsin, Trump showing in Florida, North Carolina, and Nevada, and Trump 24 kills the economy, soar 3-6, Trump being elected the biggest threat to the global economy. Trump's protectionist policies become severe, he's high tax on imports, sparking a trade war, de-dollarization, supply chain chaos, increased inflation, U.S. already on rocky footing. Trump brings stagflation, tax cuts, makes that worse, introduced financial crisis, and that causes a global war. Leticia and Lazaro 21, the link between financial crisis, deterioration, and peace, as highlighted by studies. More data reveals correlation between crisis and war. Milanovic trust the link between financial crisis and collapse. Has warned the economic crisis could cause a global conflict, tensions, raise concerns about a repetition of 30s led to World War II. The dangerous link between the economy and peace has come to the fore, and Kosovo proves ought implies immediacy and certainty. Hovanovic, 19, and Kosovo subject to ought, and also UN Charter shows duties of the government to implement immediately measures towards a solution. Now go to the case, skip the framing stuff, go to the advantage. Top level on the advantage cross-examination could not identify a single country that the affirmative affects. If the affirmative does not know what type of security assistance they affects or what countries that the affirmative affects, start the escalation scenario at 0, because what areas inside of the Middle East escalate, war stays limited, Zakaria 24, war in the Middle East provides optimism. Arab states are now playing a constructive role. Egypt, Syria, and Iraq, Saudi Arabia joining struggle against Israel, all the rest terrorists today. Arab states different first shuffling of what countries are seen as leaders. You said large countries today, Egypt should depend on Gulf, second shift attitudes against air terrorism, countries of Libya, Israel, an economic partner, Egypt, and Gulf, join opposition to Iran and Pakistan, Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas, Arab sees more moderate rejecting terrorism, urging two-state solution. Security aid is an all cause, that's purple, and we inserted their source 23 evidence below, and there's no escalation. Russia and China would tame terror regime, survival is a priority, no Hormuz disclosure, closure, that was their War 20 evidence. I don't know why they cited a 19, it's the same card. They don't solve the root cause of their disputes. Yes, they have an internal link to conflict, but their terminal impacts are obviously about all-out war, and in all-out war, the United States would not only have to withdraw their covert presence, but also their all-out presence. Palestinian statehood is the root cause of the proxy Gaza conflicts. They are not able to resolve any root cause of any of their conflicts. Both sides back down 5 minutes, full life to war 14. Israel sends a mission that signals Tehran concern. Iran can have launched more. Iran is working very hard to avoid escalation, and Gaza has gone very well to Tehran. There's no reason to jeopardize that by giving Israel justification to do massive damage. The regime faces economic challenges, widespread protests. Iran's military is weak. It would be losing at all confrontation. Israel may feel the need to hit Iran. Ordinary Israelis want to return to normal life. Israeli economy has taken a major hit. There are military considerations. Israel reticent to launch strikes that violate Jordanian and Saudi airspace that lose only Syria or Turkey. There or longer legs. Turkey is a NATO ally. Air defenses there are still Russian. Defenses in Syria. Israel may be more likely to go back to targeting Iranian assets in Syria. Israel probably won't be provoked. And no proxy escalation. Deterrence induces restraint. Anonymous 23. Iran less confident that it appears Russian attacks by proxies signal support for Hamas, but does not go far enough to invite retribution from America and 18 years near. Israel's caution nuclear suddenly reluctant to make too much of a trouble. Hezbollah contending itself with skirmishes across the border. Excuses clear, accepts no moderation denied. Involvement.
Oh, okay. Involvement?
That was the entire part.
Okay. I see. Good for CS.
Yeah.
Is there anything you skipped other than the Ukraine ADA?
No.
Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry, framing.
Yeah, on the actually, where did you put the Schoberg evidence?
That was at perverse effects.
Okay, got it. Okay, what's the link for the critique?
Yeah, the critique is criticizing the affirmative's framing of withdrawal as the end-all be-all of war. For example, when the affirmative frames, the withdrawal of these covert operations as the end-all be-all of all of these proxy conflicts, of all of these, conflicts inside of the region, our argument is that focus on withdrawal is masculine spectacularization. It disrupts the true understandings of war, because our argument is that as the United States withdraws from critical regions inside of the Middle East, militarism does not just simply end inside of these regions, but it persists and grows and mutates in sort of different ways, which means that the affirmative's focus is fundamentally incorrect.
Okay, what does the alternative mean? Is it a floating pick?
It is not a floating pick. Our argument is that feminist failure identifies the failures within international relations. For example, claims that the world is improving by every metric, or that the world is getting better by every metric, ignores the ways that IR masks traditional or non-traditional forms of violence. So for example, our impact evidence, the Prugel evidence, indicates that sort of these conflicts, the focus on whether conflicts are being reduced or increased, or whether IR is good or not, ignores the fact that there are things that are outside of the international relations spectrum for how it evaluates things. For example, gendered violence, which operates on a continuum that your evidence.
How does gendered violence explain conflict between two countries?
Yeah, so
US
the
and Iran.
Prugel evidence indicates the quantitative literature on these conflicts are flawed because of the fact that they don't take into account gender.
No, I'm asking you, since you know the literature,
so our argument is that,
how would you explain conflict between US and Iran using that?
Yeah, so our argument is that domestic politics have a lot to do with how conflict occurs. So for example, the United States presence inside the region is largely motivated by this corporate protection racket type discourse, where the United States is it's our duty to protect these countries. And this is proven from military interventions out of the region, where you can look at internal military documents and see that we're portraying these countries as effeminized subjects, that the United States has a duty to help. And this is widely accepted by the public, because there's no separation between the domestic and the international sphere, when the public is oh yes, go America.
How is that related to covert operations?
Yeah, because these covert operations of the
United so-called covert operations. How is it related to these specific programs?
Yeah, we just explained that. There's nothing that distinguishes the domestic from the international. When the United States is intervening in these countries, and we're looking at these secret military documents, they all portray the Middle East as effeminized subjects. It's the United States' duty to protect, as if they cannot protect themselves. This argument and this framing is what justifies these covert operations that are hidden from the public, where we go into these countries, we say we need to protect these subjects. It's our duty to be the masculine savior.
to hear. It was to hear.
Were there any other voters besides Kondo?
No.
Okay, the order is going to be the new app's bad off real quick, and then the T-shell, critique, counterplan, disad case.
Disad, critique, counterplan case.
Mm-hmm.
And new app's bad at the top.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that one more time. I confused myself.
New app's bad, T, K, counterplan, disad case.
Okay.
And there's no doc?
No.
Okay.
Anyone?
One sec.
Okay.
Implicit counterinterpretation on new apps bad. The status quo should be a logical option for the negative against new apps. This was inside of the 1 and C framing issue, even if the 2NR standard extension is slightly new. I know your flow does not have every single warrant the 1AR extended for Kondo. Obviously, the 2NR gets reasonable extrapolations of Kondo being good if it's a new app, and if it's specifically warranted inside of the 1 and C, it solves all of their new apps good arguments inside of the 1AR. Yes, we agree that new affirmatives are good, but new apps should not restrict the negative. Since the negative can only defend the status quo against them, then the affirmative would auto-win every single time. Dispositionality specifically does not solve this. It's not like to give the negative enough flexibility. When the affirmative has infinite prep time, they can impact turn every single net benefit. Now we'll extend our standards here. First is negative flexibility. The lower the quality of T and dis has, the more amenable you should be to conditionality. Because of the fact that the affirmative is new, the negative does not get link uniqueness. Military presence is meaningless. Specificity, recency means that the topic is structurally affirmative biased, especially when they break a new affirmative, which means they have infinite prep. The 1 and C has literally nothing they are able to read. Second is arbitrariness. The only argumentative limit is the resolution. It makes debate hard for the affirmative, slippery slope to no neg fiat, which is especially devastating. Testing is the constitutive role of the negative. Third is quality of debates. Testing from multiple angles maximizes rigorous testing. Argumentative refining. It forces better affirmative writing, especially when it's new via intrinsic extrinsic internal links and in-depth neg research, allowing both sides to collapse to their best policies. If new affirmatives were not able to be tested from multiple angles, it means that the new affirmative could write the worst affirmative in history, and the negative would never be able to challenge it on its premises. Force app conditionality, 1AR's pivot based on 1NC strategy, which requires multiple options when the affirmative is new because plan texts are meaningless. CX was shifty, the affirmative sandbags their best offense is magnified by infinite prep, first and last speech, and 2AR gaslighting. There's no offense inside of their arguments. A 10-second 1AR does not justify a 3-minute 2AR, which they should hold the line, especially when they've extended the shell inside of the 1AC, so you know it didn't have all the warrants, especially if you were at all confused and on your flow, you don't have every single 2AR extrapolation and 1AR extrapolation, when the 1AR extension was extremely light and we had a counter-interpret side of the 1NC, means that you should err heavily negative. Each additional advocacy adds less strategic value. Every counterplane review tests a different component of the affirmative, which means that good app writing solves keys, inevitable procedural, topicality, one-card disads, all thump their offense. The dispositionality does not solve its vague, undefined, unless the affirmative chooses to and makes multiple counterplanes impossible. The affirmative does not permit to or world peace force currents, which means that links to their offense. Also independently, you should use reasonability, offense, defense, theory, cursive, perverse incentive to go for arbitrary contrived interpretation with marginal risk of offense and crowd out substantive debate. We're gonna kick topicality. There was no RBI. They said there were no voting issues, which means that you can kick it, critique, and counterplane because they were both conditional. Now going for the dissent. The Pentagon is being pressured by Biden right now in order to adopt AI integration reforms. Failure to integrate AI into the military is existential. First, it turns the case in our 1NC evidence as it, quote, triggers military reactions to small issues because of the lack of small deterrence measures like cyber weapons. Absent AI integration into the military, the United States military will be forced to send hard-powered presence overseas whenever they have authority they want to challenge. Second is magnitude. It deters U.S. response to every existential threat. The United States has to walk a fine line between every single threat, including terrorists, HR, China, Russia, etc., because they have to choose between a full-fledged war or nothing at all every single time, which is existential because it encourages all of these actors to test the affirmative's red lines. Third is time frame. AI integration is set to occur in 180 days from 2023, which is one of its uniqueness. Failure is irreversible, means China and Russia irreparably gain oversight. And the only argument they made is that the Pentagon does not hate the plan. Think back to that long period and cross where Abhinav was literally just ranting about the history of the Pentagon, why they would block the bill. All of these arguments are link arguments to the disadvantage because the Pentagon has historically done this. They did the link analysis for us functionally and cross. We also rehighlighted their evidence. The title of the article is talking about how the Pentagon would block the bill. The Pentagon hates the plan. They said that durable fiat is the only way to overstep it. However, they conceded that even if durable fiat causes the plan to be passed, it would cause major backlash. First is trust. Backlash collapses. It predisposes the civil-military relationship to be confrontational and forces fights instead of agenda co-op. Even if the Pentagon does not do anything, durable fiat supercharges the link. Firm commitment means that controversial policies cause the most backlash and means that the president will be forced to horse trade in order to appease the Pentagon. Second, horse trading backlash spurs trade-offs with the president's preferred policies and will cut bureaucratic quid pro quos to offset the damage, which is the line. Third is shirking. Backlash causes the military to shirk on controversial initiatives and will engage in bureaucratic obstructionism, which runs around the president, delays the implementation of the plan, and turns case because the Pentagon has the power to do such things if they do not force trade. Now, since there are no arguments on the dissent, you should hold the line on any cross-application, answer, etc., because of the fact that they literally have no game on this. Now go to the case overview. Covert operations might be tripwires, but wars have to be domestically popular and possible. It flips their, quote, covert operations creates political pressure argument, because even if covert operations create political pressure from the military to go to war, it does not outweigh the overwhelming political pressure to literally just not go to war. Covert operations are also only done by the U.S. We have reasons why Iran would never want to join the war, which is a missing internal link they read, because even if the U.S. is extremely adventurous, Iran would never want to join into the war. First, the entire GCC would restrain them. Arab states have joined opposition. They know it's suicide, which is the Zakaria evidence. Second, security aid is an alternative clause, which specifically takes out their Israel-Hamas conflict argument, conceded, takes out Gaza internal link. Even if the plan could include security cooperations, they don't. That was crossed. No 1AR incon. It means that the 2AR that says its presence is new. They go for this Russia-China draw-on argument. They conceded the re-highlighting of their word evidence. It says that Russia and China would never want to draw on because they have no interest in the Middle East. They prefer to just take advantage of conflicts rather than engaging in them directly. Putin's literally inside of a war right now. China literally has no business being inside of the Middle East, which means that there's no draw-on that's substantiated by their evidence. The last argument we have to go for is this proxy conflicts argument. Even if U.S. proxies are aggressive, Iranian proxies will not be aggressive. First, they conceded they're not able to resolve this because of the fact that there's literally an ongoing war inside of the region, which is the root cause of all of their conflicts. Their terminal impacts are obviously all about all-out war, which takes out all of their covert operations are more specific arguments, because even if they have a covert operation internally to war, their terminal impacts of war still rely on military presence broadly, not just covert operations. Both sides back down. Byman and Pollock is the most recent piece of evidence on this. Their evidence is from 2023. We have evidence from senior fellows, researchers that talk about the Israel-Iran conflict, says that neither side benefit from escalation, specifically deterrence induces restraint, which is the Economist 23 evidence, says that Iranian proxies are backed against the corner. They do not want to go to conflict. Even if they produce the rhetoric that says that they would go to conflict, that's just because they want to maintain legitimacy domestically by taking a hard on the U.S. approach. U.S. deterrence has overwhelmingly worked distracted them from going nuclear, which is that the frame you should ask yourself is, what presence is the affirmative withdrawal that resolves these conflicts? What scenarios are occurring inside of the status quo that could potentially go nuclear, and how do they go nuclear? By the time you conclude all those internal links, we'll probably all be dead from the AI scenario from the disside, which means that there is literally no internal link from the app, because the 1 year was incredibly vague. Every escalation scenario, there's no Iran drawn, no China-Russia drawn, there's literally nothing.
The case and then the design. Extend the case, lack of oversight lowers the threshold for war because only war has in the DoD need to support war and don't need to be justified by Congress or the public, which means that the executive will always feel the need to go to war because they will always feel that they do not have the Congress nor the public have oversight. The plan solves because it explicitly creates that oversight, which is 100% of which is all absolvency. It's independently it allows for the creation of proxy armies, which escalates warfare uniquely because they aren't associated with states or face political backlash, which only the affirmative solve. They've conceded our structural weighing argument since the 1AC, which is the Leo 18 evidence, reducing structural vulnerability to existential risk as opposed to linear prediction based on disaster based on internal links. Empirically, we are awful at predicting the next war hotspot because we cannot control it, which is we should try to create institutions that raise the threshold for war and understand that there are unpredictable conflicts in the future. The data is automatically lower on probability, which outweighs because it's the only way you can determine long time frame. There was no time frame outweighs probability arguments, but probability should come first because it's the only way that you can view impacts in the first place, i.e. anything else would cause infinite policy deferral and would freeze action with which specifically implicated in the context of the Leo 18 evidence, which says that they prefer our impact because it's over a long time frame, i.e. every impact in the future that could happen in the Middle East, which we empirically know is volatile, the affirmative would control because it would stop the U.S. and would create oversight over the president from being able to engage in those conflicts in the first place. This was made clear since the 1 year, even if the Leo 18 evidence was conceded. The same way we don't extend util in every speech, this is this is a framework argument that was just made in the 1AC, which means that kids' Cardiff framing should come first. The Cardiff framing should come first. Now, the escalation scenario, I'll still win it because even if we win a structural claim, their proxies mean that they don't need to join the war explicitly because it means that Russia and China can still get involved in the conflict but can send proxies to the region. Those proxies will be uniquely escalatory, which is a 1AC evidence. Lebanon is an all-cause. The 1 year argument was that it does not matter because the only troops that be able to fight using that aid or using the presence in Lebanon would be the ones that the app resolves. Putin is in war, China, etc. No drawing. U.S. Iran goes nuclear directly. Even if you don't believe that, no drawing does not assume the unique role of covert operations because even if other powers stay in, we say that the U.S. entrapment is enough for them to go nuclear because they feel that they're entrapped in the conflict, which means that they have to win the war uniquely, which means that the perception flips negative, flips affirmative. Now go to the dissat. There is no link to the dissat. You should read 1AC evidence and the re-highlighting. It is all based on the Pentagon, like saying that the plan is unpopular. This evidence says that the Pentagon historically fails to provide critical information. It says that they do not comply when Congress does anything because they're not revealing information to Congress. We fiat that the plan happens through the DoD, which is part of the exec. That's also 100% because Congress is not doing the app. Yes, if Congress did the app, it would be unpopular because they cannot. This link is new in the 2NR because the fiat link is new in the 2NR because they did not did not even read the reheading, they did not even justify it, and it says the Pentagon did not comply with 130F, which is something the plan does not get rid of. Even if you believe the horse trading link, the DoD is not the president, which means the president does not have to justify the plan. We define normal means since the 1AC, which means that you should extend this through, and this was also an argument in the 1A that was made implicitly after their New App's bad argument, and the president does not have to advocate for the plan, which means that there's no horse trading that they have to do to justify to the Pentagon.